Well, good evening, everyone, and it's on to Daytona weekend for the Sylvania Cup Series. A lot of fun stuff going on, and we will get started with the Twin 50, the doubles, the duels, and a little bit of input is we'll have 4 drivers qualify out of this duel, and 4 drivers qualifying out of the other duel. Your top 34 are locked into points. Locked into the main event based on points. So a little bit of a rundown who's going to be racing to get their way in this duel will be Jimmy Gokachia, Michael LeBeau, Clyde Coker, Tim Hansen, Al Bunch, Nathan Morgan, Romain Grosjean, Trevor Walker, Braden Hunt, and Cash. As you can see on our front row, we've got Braden Hunt starting front row alongside of the 12 of Willpower. Then you've got Dalton Scott and Ant Me Person, Tyler Aspinall and Jacob Shangle, Nelson Chacon and Tyler Shangle, Tim Hansen and Monty Shangle, one of the ones that's going to have to race their way in, Tim Hansen right there. Monty looking to try and extend his win streak to 5 in a row. Then you've got Alexander Rossi and Trevor Walker, Jimmy Gokachia and Romain Grosjean, Greg Forian and Elizabeth Shangle, Rick Quick, Roger Lutz, Clyde Coker, Nathan Morgan, Jimmy Johnson, Howard Schuler, Tim Cording, Michael LeBeau, Kara Carl, Al Bunch, and as you can see, Al Bunch sporting a brand new paint scheme this week with Ovaltine as his sponsor, and the 07 of Cash at the very back of the field. As you can see, Braden Hunt's sporting a JSR special scheme for Daytona this week. His one-off attempt, we'll see how he does. As they qualified, it would be Braden Hunt, Tim Hansen, Trevor Walker, and Romain Grosjean that would transfer in based on how they lined up in qualifying here. The rest of the drivers on field will definitely be racing for something here, as this will help set the lineup for the main event tomorrow. These duels never seem to disappoint. We've seen great duels in the trucks this year, and now we're going to get to see duels in the Cup Series for the first time. As they're often racing, here they go. Correction, they have seen duels in the Cup Series. That was our season opener at Fontana. But definitely we got a bunch of new faces in this Daytona 500 attempt. All of your regular season winners so far between Trucks and Busch have been given and extended an invite into this grand American race, this crown jewel of an event. "50 laps will be kind of the wait and make your moves until the end of the duel here. Everyone's going to just kind of figure out what they've got right now, get the shakedown, and try to survive. Don't want to wreck out early and cost yourself a good starting position in the Daytona 500. As you can see, 2 of the go-or-go-homers on the inside, Grosjean and Trevor Walker. You don't want to be in that center line. That's only going to make you drop further backwards. There's almost guaranteed to be a wreck in this duel, the way super speedway races usually play themselves out here. And quite a steep hill for Monty Shangle to climb if he wants to get his 5th consecutive win on the season. Daytona is going to be no easy walk in the park for a win here. He's definitely going to earn it this week if he can pull it off for 5 in a row. They're packed in like sardines going into turn 3 here, coming out of turn 4. You can barely slip a piece of paper between most of the cars in that center. And the amazing part is that the center line is not losing as much momentum as I anticipated. Honestly, they're kind of keeping with the rest of the field. Might be a competitive line to run, actually. Clyde Coker in the lead is going to be one of your drivers that has to race his way in. And even the 07 of Cash right there in position. The 49 of Michael LeBeau. So 3 of our drivers that have to race their way in sitting in the top 5 already here in duel number 1. It's looking like our 4th transfer as they run on track will be the 81 of Al Bunch. And now Al Bunch is going to get by the 07, and that'll put him 3rd in line for the transfer. Al Bunch didn't want to just settle into 4th there. It looks like he's going to try to pull off 3rd. A little bit of drafting help from one of his Dodge allies in the 77 car. Tyler Shangle giving him a push. 2 Dodge Challengers are better than 1. And even so, we are currently on lap 6 of 50, and they've been keeping it clean. They haven't wrecked yet. Don't want to jinx it. The 08 of Nathan Morgan on the inside, sneaking his way up towards the transfer spot. Got quite the drafting help from Jacob Shangle there in the 64 car. Al Bunch gets cut out into the high lane here. This is going to have a hard time getting back on the inside from that high lane. Evans Motorsports now running 1-2 as Clyde Coker. Ooh, Jimmy Johnson's in the wall. Looked like Cash got in the wall. The 29 of Tyler Aspinall. See the time. Yep. 29 of Tyler Aspinall gets loose, and it collects the 07, unfortunately. How exactly? Ooh, that's what happened there. As you can see, everything's kind of sorted out for now. As our lead pack kind of breaking away from that other pack there. Unfortunately, it looks like Cash might be one of our first eliminations here, as they are going to have a hard time catching back up to the lead pack like that. Tyler Aspinall and Jimmy Johnson are going to get deep in the pack for their qualifying position here. But even so, it looks like Tim Hansen might be our second furthest back. You got Grosjean there. The rest of our contenders are must race their way in, still running hard at the front of the field. The 49 of Michael LeBeau will have to race his way in, the 46 of Jimmy Gokachia, the 08 of Nathan Morgan, and the 81 of Al Bunch. Oh, they're trying to wreck. Oh, and they're going to take out a big chunk of contenders here early in lap 11 of 50 in this first duel. Oofty. So Nathan Morgan gets run into by the 7 of Rossi. This collects the 59 of Schuler, the 96 of Braden Hunt, 13 of Aunt Me Person, oh, and the 29 of Tyler Aspinall. Luckily, Al Bunch was in a good spot there not to get involved in the wreck. But it looks like we're going to have 6 to 7 cars out of the race already. These duels are going to mean a lot for these drivers. Looks like coming out from pits with the lead might be Nelson Chacon, followed by Jimmy Gokachia, Michael LeBeau, Clyde Coker, might be a lap down actually, Al Bunch, Okay, so currently the transfer spots belong to Jimmy Gokachia, Michael LeBeau, Clyde Coker, and Al Bunch. The 4 of our top 5 having to race their way in, all in the top 5 right now. Trevor Walker could make something happen here if he gets lucky and passes a couple of them. Obviously, that's going to happen. We'll have to see who shakes out where in 40 laps time. The others, the 89 will have to still race their way in. the 26, the 07, and that's how many drivers we have left in this first duel here. Dalton Scott, Braden Hunt, Nathan Morgan, Howard Schuler, and Tyler Aspinall out of the race. Good portion of them are going to be out for the main event, and a few of them are going to have to go to a backup car for the main 500 tomorrow. With the lights off on the pace car, I'm going to get double filed up here and ready to go back racing. Front row Jimmy Gokachia and Nelson Chacon is going to lead them to the green flag here. Nelson has been a veteran of the series for a good chunk of time now. Been racing for the Chevy team here that you see, Calvin Steele Racing. With a few wins to his name in the series, he's very like the number sake that he's driving there with Austin Dillon. He's really not won a whole lot of races, but he does find his way to victory lane once in a while. Trevor Walker gets shuffled up high there, as our 4 transfer drivers still running all there in the top 5, right behind Nelson Chacon. Quite a few 3 wide sections back there. 3 wide with Trevor Walker on the outside. Once we had 27 at the start of this race, we're down to 22 cars left running. Nice part is most of the damaged vehicles are out of the race, so we're not going to see any lap traffic ruining this race, hopefully. With it only being a 50-lap duel, things should get pretty well tied up quicker than, say, the full 200-lap 500-miler. Gokachia going to the lead here in that Mercedes. Also, an interesting newcomer for the second duel you're going to see is Lewis Hamilton, who has said that he wants to come out and try to run with the big boys here in the Sylvania Cup Series. It's going to be interesting to see it. We already got Ryan, we've had Ryan Hunter-Ray, Takuma Sato, Scott Dixon, even Romain Grosjean from F1. So we've had a lot of open wheel drivers. Amongst them, the IndyCar guys have definitely been pretty dominant here in the Sylvania Cup. The F1 guys, on the other hand, have had some trouble. As you can see, Romain Grosjean having to race his way in today is not a good sign. That means he has failed to accumulate very many points early in the season. So he's doing what he needs to do here as he's on the inside line, and he's currently in a transfer spot based on how he's running. It's amazing, even the slightly damaged vehicle of the 07 Cash still within range of making something happen here. All they're going to need is for another wreck to happen, and perhaps they'll be able to transfer in to the Daytona 500. As you can see, Al Bunch stuck in the middle lane there. He's going to have to find a way back onto the inside sooner than later, as it's going to drop him further backward. To the lead, Kara Carl led that lap. Only briefly, is now Tim Hansen with a push from Monty Shangle is about to go to the lead. And even though this doesn't count as an official win, Monty Shangle could still make the statistics crazy without having lost a race between points and non-points paying races. Currently, your transfers belong to the 89 of Tim Hansen, the 20 of Trevor Walker, the 81 of Al Bunch, and the 26 of Romain Grosjean. A lot of that's probably going to change in the matter of one turn here. Now Trevor Walker on the outside. He's going to lose his transfer spot here. Transfer spots now belong to Tim Hansen, Romain Grosjean, Michael LeBeau, and Al Bunch. So Al Bunch is holding in solid there on that inside line as they come and go. He's just staying in that fourth transfer spot right now. This is, however, a precarious position to be in. If you're in that center line, you're going to get more likely in a wreck. Al Bunch almost has an opportunity there as the gap closed, but there's going to be a couple opportunities where he can get down on the inside and get to a little bit safer territory. Wow, that is Will Power on the lead lap still, up to 5th. Michael LeBeau, Clyde Coker, Romain Grosjean, and Tim Hansen currently in where they run. Al Bunch is finally able to get on the inside line there. This will give him an opportunity to try and race back up to the front. As we're just past halfway in duel number 1, lap 26 of 50. The way that caution fell, we're likely going to have to see everyone pit at least once more. Monty Shangle to the lead with Jimmy Gokachia right behind him. This has been a pretty civilized duel so far, apart from the one wreck we saw earlier on lap 12. This whole field is racing pretty cleanly regardless of that. And just like that, as I mentioned it, they got really tight there, and that could have been bad. But luckily, everyone continues onward without any wreck. The 07 of Cash there in that unsponsored entry. Man, that'd be crazy if they could still make the main event here today. Looks like our transfers right now belong to Jimmy Gokachia, Al Bunch, Clyde Coker, and perhaps Trevor Walker. Walker with a good run there. So even though we had some that had to race their way in, wreck out in that first caution, our transfer spot is very volatile and has been back and forth fluctuating here. Al Bunch seems to be one of the favorites here today in that Ovaltine Dodge Challenger. As laps continue to tick away here, Roger Lutz in the lead over Tyler Shangle and Liz Shangle. Jimmy Gokachia in the middle there between Ant Meeperson and Nelson Chacon. Man, it's amazing how they race 3 wide all the way around, and they still manage to keep it clean without wrecking. These Cup drivers are definitely the best of the best. There's no doubt about it. We saw a pretty clean race in the trucks on dirt Daytona. However, the race before that on paved Daytona, the trucks were very unruly. Then, just yesterday, we had the Busch race, and that thing was a nightmare. We only had 13 cars finish the race out of 35. In this duel here, we're looking to have a solid finish of at least 20 drivers short of another wreck. Everyone just needs to keep those wheels pointed straight and try to finish these last 17 laps with no problems. Gokachia and Michael LeBeau. Clyde Coker and Al Bunch. Could it be someone else that'll knock one of those four off? We've still got a lot of racing in this duel that could potentially change that up. Ooh, and they're wrecking. Wow. Oofty, Al Bunch got lucky times two. He was involved partially in the first wreck and partially involved in this wreck, but took very little to no damage on that 81 Challenger. As you can see, it looks like it all started, and that's a transfer person that got wrecked out there, the 80 of Clyde Coker. As you can see, he gets run into by Aunt Me person. This also collects Tim Hansen, who had to run his way in here. It looks like we're only going to have about a 3-car wreck out here, as the rest of them seem to drive through pretty much unscathed. Looks like it'll be into the night for Liz Shangle, Tim Hansen, and perhaps Clyde Coker there. Cash could still make their way into this. We've got enough that continue to wreck out. Ooh, wow, the 26 of Romain Grosjean upon the end of the caution. Looks like maybe Grosjean makes a mistake here. He's not getting woed up in time, and we have a slight pileup on the backstretch. This could potentially put an end to Nelson Chacon and Romain Grosjean's day after that. Currently in on transfer is Michael LeBeau, Jimmy Gokachia, Al Bunch, and Trevor Walker. Cash still in contention here to potentially work their way in. Romain Grosjean might still have a fighting chance here. Clyde Coker's not out of it. So with that, we only have 19 cars left running. The 3 of Nelson Chacon is retired. 16 of Liz Shangle retired. The 89 of Tim Hansen retired. Oh, and the 12 of Will Power retired. So now we have 18 cars left running. 14 laps to go. We should be good to go the rest of the way on fuel. So this will be a quick 15 lap dash to the finish. Kind of an interesting fact, you know, how the go or go homers with the unsponsored entries, they're the ones on the outside looking in right now. But yeah, I give credit to Trevor Walker for an impressive start here in his Cup experience. This is only his first Cup start. He got his free pass from winning in the trucks earlier this season, so here he is racing, trying to race his way into the Great American Race. Cash right behind him just won last night in the Truck Series here at Daytona. So they have a good opportunity to make it into their first ever Cup race. Al Bunch has been running a part-time schedule here in the Cup already, but this seems to be a promising sight that he's got the speed. Maybe he's going to be a worthy adversary in the main 500 miler tomorrow. The lights are off on the pace car, and we're going to get back going to green next time by. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of the drivers that are locked in going to backup cars for the Daytona 500s, so this will likely be our last restart if any of the previous laps are any indicator. We've been able to run about 15 laps solid without a wreck, so we should have another 15 laps here solid right to the finish, as we only have 12 laps to go. So Michael LeBeau and Greg Forian on the front row, Jimmy Gokachia and Tyler Shangle right behind them, followed by Roger Lutz, Ant Meeperson, Al Bunch, Jimmy Johnson, Rick Quick, and Carrot Carl. That's your top 10 right there. Back going green, green, green. Our final transfer spot belongs to the 20 of Trevor Walker. The 07 might have something to say about it. We'll have to keep an eye back here to see potentially if the 20 may lose their transfer spot or if they're going to hold on to it. Everyone's kind of teaming up here, figuring out who's their best partner to dance with in this final 10 to 12 lap shootout. Got a couple Fords hooked up there, the 21 of Carrot Carl and the 50 of Tim Cording. Things are about to get interesting as we're closing in on the final 10 laps. The 07 of Cash, unfortunately, it looks like is losing the draft. So there might not be much drama for that final transfer spot, as currently our 4 transfer spots are all in the top 5 right now. This has got to be an astounding, great first race for Trevor Walker here. Potentially in contention to win his first duel. This would put him on the front row if he's able to win it. Even some of these drivers that have been soldiering along with wounded cars are going to get better starting positions than most of them. One of the perks of staying alive and just picking them off one by one. Rick Quick and Tyler Shangle. 1-2. Now you got Carrot Carl up to third. As long as we can make it to the finish here without any more wrecks. 9 laps to go. Wow, even the wounded car of Jacob Shangle making his way up into the party here. That 64 JSR entry, kind of like a Kevin Harvick run where the car is totally damaged beyond repair and still drafting away, working with the draft and potentially fighting for a good finish here in the first duel. Short of another wreck, it looks like our 4 transfer spots are pretty much secure for the time being. Trevor Walker here in the 20, 49 of Michael LeBeau, the 46 of Jimmy Gokachia, and the 81 of Al Bunch. No one would have foresaw Trevor Walker racing his way in here. This is definitely a good story that we want to highlight going into the 500. Trevor Walker has been so-so. I mean, he hasn't set the world on fire in the trucks, but one thing he knows for sure is road courses. And contender last year in the championship, 12 in the trucks. Didn't make it out of the round of 12, but was contender and had a chance to win a championship last year. This year, he's kind of struggling at everything outside of the road courses in the trucks. His one win in the road course for the trucks is going to guarantee him a playoff spot going forward, so no telling how the rest of his truck season may go. But perhaps this will be the shot in the arm needed to help get all of his programs going in the right direction. Especially since he's got truck and Busch teams. Not too shabby. I still can't believe how some of these cars are so damaged, yet they're still racing with the draft. That's just a little bit unusual, I must say. That 64 car looks to be carrying just about as much speed as the rest of the cars that have no damage. Al Bunch to the lead here with a bit of a push help from Jimmy Johnson. They're going to have to make sure that they don't wreck, because that's the only way we could see a mix-up with our transfers is if there's a wreck. 64 in the background there trying to find the draft still. Hasn't lost the draft, but it's getting harder with that beat-up car to catch up. Ooh, the 26 of Romain Grosjean, that damaged car is going to hold him up here as this bunches the field back up. This could be trouble for some of the drivers. Looks like they're going to be able to pass him on the inside here. they're all but wrecking. So it looks like we're going to have a fight here in the top 7 with 3 laps to go. Two laps to go this time by, and Michael LeBeau with the lead. What you're looking at right here, a bunch of these drivers are going to have a good starting position for the 500 tomorrow. Even those that had to race their way in, they're going to be starting pretty high up in the field. Michael LeBeau at the front right now. Trevor Walker, Al Bunch. Going from had to race their way in to potentially starting really high up in the running order. Going to be white flag next time by. As things start to destabilize with a little bit of the lead pack. Another lapped car coming into the picture here. See how they catch him going into turn. Wow, on the front stretch. This really is not going to factor out anything or change the outcome in any way, as our transfers are going to stay the same. Greg Forian in second, but Michael LeBeau out front in the lead. All he's got to do is hold him off from the backstretch and the 2 corners to follow. I do believe Michael LeBeau is probably going to be a sit and duck here coming to the front stretch, as Greg Forian is going to have a run. He's going to peek on the inside here. Is he going to have enough of a run to beat him to the line? Nope. Greg Forian finishes second to Michael LeBeau, Trevor Walker, Al Bunch, Tyler Shangle, Roger Lutz, Jacob Shangle, Rick Quick, Jimmy Johnson, Ant Meperson. Our last transfer being Jimmy Gokachia. Then you got Carrot Carl, Tim Cording, Alexander Rossi. Cash misses out by 1 spot for transfer. And there you have it. Our first duel is in the books. 50 laps of racing. We had 9 drivers retire. Going home, we've got the 08 of Nathan Morgan, Braden Hunt, Tim Hansen, Romain Grosjean, Clyde Coker, and Cash are all going home. Those that have transferred into the main event is the 46 of Jimmy Gokachia, the 81 of Al Bunch, the 20 of Trevor Walker, and the 49 of Michael LeBeau. Definitely one of the best finishes that Michael LeBeau has had in the series. It's going to be interesting in this second duel to see how Lewis Hamilton fares. He's going to be one of the drivers that has to race his way in. Also, drivers that have to race their way in will be the 18 of Chaz Chadwick, the 33 of Bob Leader, the 27 of Justin Roman, the 6 of Chris Hergeson, the 63 of Mitchell Gobea, the 31 of Logan Nagy, the 79 of James Robert. Then you got the 65 of Lucas Holmes, the 66 of Philip Leeds, and the 02 of Nadak Hagum, along with Lewis Hamilton having to race their way in here. Duel number 2. Duel number 1 was quite a treat. We got to see a lot of good racing action. We did get to see some wrecks. 50 laps, 50 minutes in distance. The second duel also going to be 50 laps and likely to be about the same in distance, so length of time.
Favor, just touch all your seatbelts. Touch all your... Favor, just touch all your seatbelts. Touch all your...
So, starting on the front row in duel number 2, we've got Kellen Relic and Alan Taylor. Then you've got Atlee Weiss and Lewis Hamilton starting pretty strong up in the top 5. Cam Jordan and John Roman. Louis Trost is actually locked into the main event as he is 32nd in points, so this will help him set where he's starting in the main event. Then you got Logan Nagy, Bob Leader and Guido Piano, Justin Day2 and Justin Roman, Scott Dixon and Mitchell Gobea, Aaron Rapp and Danny Litowitz, Philip Leeds and Fireball Robert, Ryan Blaney and Chris Hergeson, Nadak Hagum and Lucas Holmes, Austin Mullins and Chaz Chadwick, Ewan Woodarmy and Jack Ross, and then Skylar Dixon and Tristan Reams. So we're going to go ahead and get the tires rolling here for our second duel at Daytona. And for those of you that were wanting to know how the lineups are going to look, we will have those ready for you at the end of the duels here. I don't know off the top of my head just from watching where it's all going to line up, so we'll get everything tallied and put together so you can see it at the conclusion of the event here. As you're watching this, the Daytona 500 for the Sylvania Cup Series will be Friday. Most likely in the afternoon to evening. So here we go with 50 laps. We still got 50 more laps to go and another duel here as Kellen Relic leads them to the green flag. Atlee Weiss right there behind him in that Toyota Supra. And just like in the first duel, we're only going to have 4 drivers transfer out of this one. They will join the other 4 that transferred in the first duel. Our top 34 in the points are locked into the main event. And we've got a grand total of 54 drivers trying to make the main event here. So there's going to be 12 drivers going home. You can see there is a lot of rookie stripes out there. Even those drivers that are locked in points, there's a lot of rookies that have been having a good season this year. Atlee Weiss, for example, there in the middle, he's in the top 10 in points in only his first season here. Started off as a part-time entry, and now he is a full-time entry for that number 19 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota. Oof, they are tight. This is going to get hairy. We might have the big one here in duel number 2. Duel number 1, we had about 3 mid-sized wrecks. This one, we might tear up some equipment here. And it's going to be a shame. We don't want to see Lewis Hamilton go out of the main event due to a wreck, or any of these guys that are trying to race their way in. That would just be a shame to have it in that way. Phillip leads there in the 66. Oh, and they are wrecking. And they do a really good job at collision avoidance, as you can see. Ooh, Atlee, his day might be done. This is just meaning that they're going to have to start towards the back of the field in the Daytona 500 tomorrow. And we had a little bit of extracurricular from that wreck that kept going. Wow, there was a lot going on. So this all started, as I mentioned, Phillip Leeds' name, a wreck with him and Guido Piano, collecting Aaron Rapp, Atlee Weiss. They come back after the wreck. The 97 comes up into traffic, collecting the 54 and the 63. That also collected the 65 of Holmes, the 8 of Reams, ooh, and 87 of Kellen Relic. Hard hit there on the 54. A lot of tore up rigs here early in this one. It didn't even take us more than 3 laps to see our first wreck in duel number 2. So the 66, Guido Piano, man, they just got tight there. I think the 66 was trying to hold their line, but the 37 was just there. Louis Tross gets some significant damage. The 31 of Logan Nagy with some significant damage. Lewis Hamilton, I think, might have had the save of the race here. He has the best seat for it all. As you can see, Lucas Holmes did not get out of this wreck very clean. Lucas Holmes is on the inside of him right now. Smoke starts to collect. The 37 spinning up. Lewis Hamilton on the brakes, able to keep it off of the 28. Wow, might have got a little bit of contact there. Lewis Hamilton just trying to keep it saved, and this might have been a big save for it, as everyone else continues to wreck out there in front of him. The spinning top of the 54 car there. Hamilton's going to make up a lot of positions with all these damaged vehicles. Looks like out of the race, we've got the 54 of Cam Jordan, who is actually locked into the main event today, or for tomorrow. Kellen Relic and Atlee Weiss, both of which are locked in, so we didn't get any go-homers that were involved in the wreck here. Furthest running is Mitchell Gobea. He's going to have his work cut out for him as he sits 24th right now. But only 3 retirements, which is kind of surprising. I think the damage on the vehicles is much severe than the ones that retired. As you can see, the 97 looks pretty beat up, the 63. They were able to fix that 45 up pretty well. It looks mildly damaged. 37 mildly damaged there. And then you got Lewis Hamilton still looks like he's in one piece. Currently, of the runners running towards the front, the ones locked in, based on the position, Philip leads. Nadaka Gum, Justin Roman, and Chris Hergeson, it looks like. Yeah, Chris Hergeson, our last in on transfer spot right now. That also means that a lot of huge contenders like Chadwick is on the outside looking in. They're double file back up here, heading to the green on lap 7, rolling into lap 8. Front row is Justin Day2 and Scott Dixon. And this means a lot because these guys want to go in to tomorrow and try to win the Daytona 500. One of the bigger, if not biggest races of the year on most calendars. It's no different here in the Sylvania Cup Series, as a lot of people are going to want to mark that one on their calendar and try to win it. This is just the preliminary. This is the start to it all, but if you get a good start from the duels, you could potentially have a good shot at winning it tomorrow. Justin Day2 has had a solid start to the season so far, has been the hottest rookie of the series. He's had an opportunity to win a couple times already and has not hit the victory lane column, but he's flirting with it and will likely be in victory lane sometime throughout the season. It's amazing how many rookies we've got. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for rookies to make it to victory lane this year. Nearly half the field taken over by rookies. Had some notable retirements at the end of 2022. Casey Kane, Brad Keselowski, Paul Wilkins, Larry Lusk was another one that retired. So, and a bunch of them were winning drivers throughout the season. Now we've got a whole bunch of new drivers trying to put their name in the history books here for the Sylvania Cup Series, and it's going to be fun to watch. Lewis Hamilton on the inside here, as they've gotten 3 wide again. This could be trouble. Our first duel, we were able to see a lot of civilized racing early. This might turn into uncivilized run here in duel number 2. They're all but wrecking again here at the front as they're so tied up here. It's amazing that they're not wrecking. Lewis Hamilton to the lead with Skylar Dixon on the inside. And they're back to 3x3x3x3. As the entire field racing hard here in duel number 2, but so far keeping them going forward. Very great hard racing here, as the conveyor belt is pushing Lewis Hamilton back to the back again. Justin Day2 back to the lead. Ooh, and they are so close entering turn 3. It seems like every time they're just a sheet away from wrecking. Lewis Hamilton's learning real quick what it's like to draft here in these big hunky stock cars. And he seems to have a good feel for it, as he's keeping this car in contention. Looks like we do have our 2 lap traffic there, a few more, so about 4 slower cars. Six slower cars still out there making laps. They could potentially make up some starting positions if another wreck were to break out. But right now, our transfers based on running position would be Chris Hergeson, James Robert, Chaz Chadwick, and Jack Ross. No, Jack Ross is locked into the main field, so it would be the 33 of Bob Leader, I believe. Not for long, though, as Lewis Hamilton gets by him. Lewis Hamilton on that inside is going to be able to make up spots to get himself into a transfer position, as Chris Hergeson is now losing the lead and getting stuck on the outside. This is going to force Hergeson to lose positions. Unless that outside line's actually mounting a charge. Take that back. Chris Hergeson's still staying in the fight here on the outside. Lewis Hamilton peeking inside for the front of the field there. And that for sure would be an impressive story to have Lewis Hamilton make the starting lineup for the Daytona 500. It's so weird to see Lewis Hamilton out there with rookie stripes. That just seems so out of place. As talented a driver as he is, but he is a rookie here in the Cup Series, as he's never turned laps in these cars before. Middle lane there is going to be hard. This is going to be the danger zone. He's going to have to keep it going straight and hope no one hooks him. So this duel is actually kind of being contrary to what was expected at the start. Thinking that this one was going to be a wreck fest, it seems like everyone's kind of settling down and trying to just race their race rather than push the envelope. Oh, and they're wrecking. Wow, Lewis Hamilton with the save there. They're still wrecking. Ow. Chadwick, this may very well be the big one, as we only have about 5 cars race to the finish line there. Ooh, Danny Lidowitz, who's been having a good start to the season, looks like he's going to have to start deeper in the pack if his car is truly as toast as it looks like. Wow, this started right from the lead with the 22 of Austin Mullins hooking the 41 of Scott Dixon, this causing him to spin out and collect. Wow, look at Lewis Hamilton. The seas parted right in front of him. Then the 51 and 22 connect up here. This collects the 18 of Chadwick, the 66 of Leeds, the 28 of Alan Taylor, Danny Lidowitz in the 51. We're going to have to hop on the in-car cam of the 44 yet again, as that save, a monumentous save, a extremely lucky save, as they're all wrecking around him. Lewis Hamilton might be able to make the main event for the Daytona 500. And it came with a little bit of luck and a little bit of talent and skill. Holy crap. So now out of the race, we've got more retirements. The 51 of Danny Litowitz, the 10 of Ryan Blaney, the 28 of Alan Taylor, the 18 of Chadwick. Ow, this is going to be doom and gloom for Chadwick, is this will probably kick him out of the Daytona 500. Lewis Trost looks like he's still running. Scott Dixon may very well still be running. Yep. So, second duel's going to claim quite a few drivers as the first duel. We're not even halfway through, and currently transferring from the front of the field, it's going to be Bob Leader. Nadak Hagam, Lewis Hamilton, and Justin Roman. The next in line would be the 6 of Chris Hergeson, who's pretty much 4 or 5 cars further back from Justin Roman. Fireball Robert, Mitchell Gobea. There's still a lot of them that could try to win, race their way in here. Even that 65 of Holmes doesn't look half damaged, and it's been involved, but it looks good. Looks clean. Double filed up. Pace car is about to pull off here, and we're going to get back to racing. We only have about 18 cars left running. 19, 20, 21 cars left running. Only 18 on the lead lap, though. And Lewis Hamilton has been the star of the show so far, as there's been 2 wrecks. Lewis Hamilton has avoided both of them with style. Currently on the inside, about to take third away. Getting his way up to second already. All Lewis Hamilton needs to do is keep doing what he's doing, and he's going to be in the Daytona 500. Taking the lead away from Bob Leader with the push from Justin Day2. Most surely have not seen all the final wrecks here. There's probably going to be at least another wreck here in duel number 2. Currently past halfway, we're on lap 27 of 50, so and yet again, like duel number 1, we're seeing these damaged vehicles that are still running adequate. '63 of Mitchell Gobea, even though his car looks wounded, he's catching up to this lead pack, and he's going to be contending for transfer position here. Based on how they run right now, Chris Hergeson in, Fireball Robert in, Nadak Hagum in, and Lewis Hamilton in. Jack Ross in the lead right now with Nadak Hagum, Bob Leader, Skylar Dixon, John Roman, Ewan What Army, Justin Roman, Justin Day2, Lewis Hamilton on the high side. He's going to have to find a way to get onto the inside. Down to 19 laps to go now, and it's do or die as these guys are going to have to figure out where to set themselves up to get to the right spot for the finish. Oh, they're trying to wreck again. They're wrecking this time. Wow, just like that. Again, Lewis Hamilton needs to get a steak dinner at the end of this one. How do you manage to avoid 3 wrecks in a row with ease? Holy cow, man. So that's going to make things a little bit simpler here going forward with the final 18 laps, as it looks like we took out a bunch of contenders there in that one. Lewis Hamilton so lucky he was able to get onto the inside and avoid the carnage that ensues here. At first didn't look like it was going to pull through, but the 79 and the 6 collect the rest of the field as they crash up into him. The 00, the 27, the 48's involved. Oh, the 97 of Aaron Rapp with nowhere to go. And these two still fighting for position, but they're slow enough that I don't know if they'll be a contender. To the start-finish line, it's Chris Hergeson with the lead over Ewan What Army. Oh, correction. My bad. Justin Day2 over John Roman and Nadak Hagum. Looks like Jack Ross's day is probably done at the end of this wreck here. And it's just an unfortunate circumstance as the cars wrecking on the inside, the 6 and the 79, sliding back out into the track. Nowhere to go for Jack Ross as it collects him and a couple others. And let's do it one more time since we've been doing it all night so far. Let's follow the in-car cam of Lewis Hamilton. Must come from his Formula One experience, being able to react at such a split second. Those split second reactions is the difference between finishing the race checkers or finishing the race wreckers. So, and even so, our transfers still, we've got Nadak Hagum, Chris Hergeson, Lewis Hamilton, and Mitchell Gobea. So Tyler Shangle Racing could get the other two entries into the main event here, as Michael LeBeau won duel number 1. Mitchell Gobea still in contention to transfer his way through. So as we're going to have about 14 laps to go once the caution cycle ends. It's going to be about the same distance that we had in duel number 1. We'll just have to see if these guys can keep it going without wrecking again. The lights are off on the pace car, and we're going to be getting back green in the next lap at lap 36 with just 14 to go. Out of the race, retirement so far, the 54 of Cam Jordan, the 87 of Kellen Relic, 19 of Atlee Weiss, the 10 of Ryan Blaney, the 51 of Danny Lidowitz, the 28 of Alan Taylor, the 18 of Chaz Chadwick, the 27 of Justin Roman, the 00 of Jack Ross, and the 97 of Aaron Rapp. We've got 18 cars left running, 15 of which are on the lead lap. And Lewis Hamilton amongst the top 4 that'll transfer right now. Still, we've got Logan Nagy waiting in the wings. We've got Philip Leeds, Lucas Holmes, and even Fireball Robert there still running. Even though he got in that wreck, could still make it interesting here. They get rolling, as this is going to be a short sprint to the end of duel number 2. We have not had to see any green flag run of pit stops in this race, as there's been enough cautions to separate it. Lewis Hamilton settling down onto the inside here behind Mitchell Gobea. He's giving Mitchell Gobea a push here. Crazy part is Lewis Hamilton could be fighting for starting row position here. If he wins this duel, he'll be starting second on the front front row. Nadat Kagum leads over Ewan What Army. Justin Day 2 taking a stab at the lead there. .33 of Bob Leaders trying to get back into the picture, as our transfer spots currently belong to Nadat Kagum, Mitchell Gobea, Chris Hergeson, and Lewis Hamilton. Bob Leader is trying to make his way up into the top 4 transfer spots. Just like that, Bob Leader on the inside of Mitchell Gobea. This would put Bob Leader in to the Daytona 500 and Mitchell Gobea out. Now with just 12 laps to go, our top 4 transfers has changed up a little bit. Even so, it looks like Logan Nagy is not out of this picture yet. Lewis Hamilton by no means is safe. He could still lose 2 more transfer spots and fall out of it. Lewis Hamilton stuck on the high side right now. He can't find an opportunity to get back inside. And just like that, Bob Leader is going to put Lewis Hamilton on the bubble. But don't, things are really getting crazy at the front, as Nadat Kagum has lost the lead and could potentially fall out of a transfer spot. Lewis Hamilton is just hanging on by a nose, and now he is currently out of the transfer spot, as Mitchell Gobea has it on him. Lewis Hamilton holding in strong though on that outside. Bob Leader to the inside. Lewis Hamilton still barely holding on by a nose there in front of Mitchell Gobea. Things are getting interesting as we're down to about 10 laps to go. Lewis Hamilton on that outside is just doing enough drafting with that outside line to stay in front of Mitchell Gobea. Mitchell Gobea's car definitely a little bit more on the wounded side. He's having a hard time keeping that pace up. Wow, and if that would have been the last lap, that would have been close. It would have been the 63 by the narrowest of margins, as Lewis Hamilton is just trying everything he can to run fast laps on that outside. His best opportunity, I believe, is going to be getting onto the inside and trying to pass these guys fair and square, rather than trying to push it so hard on the outside. And even if he doesn't make it, at least Lewis Hamilton gave us something to talk about in duel number 2 here. Most of you are not going to forget about the time that Lewis Hamilton avoided 3 wrecks to stay alive for a shot at the Great American Race. There we go. I think Lewis is going to be able to settle in down on the inside. And now it's his best opportunity to get back into it here. Nadaka Gum leading again. Chris Hergeson, Bob Leader, and Gobea in transfer spots. Man, look at Lewis Hamilton has got the speed. Once he gets onto the inside, though, he's going to blow by Mitchell Gobea here. Yeah, I even give him a little bit of a bump going into the front straight there. Mitchell Gobea on the transfer currently. Not for long as Lewis Hamilton has that transfer. We've still got 7 laps to go. A lot that could happen in 7 laps here. Lewis Hamilton making the mistake of getting into the high lane again. I don't know what he's thinking. That is not the place you want to get to, because now that just gives Mitchell Gobea an opportunity to pass him back on the inside. The way they're running right now, it's going to be a nail biter to where that final transfer spot's going to fall. Oh, Nadaka Gum gets shuffled way high here. This could be best case scenario for Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton actually gets in behind him, which is a strange move. Oh, the lap traffic of Lewis Trost just created an opening for Lewis Hamilton. This puts Lewis Hamilton in, and it kind of knocks Mitchell Gobea out. But Mitchell Gobea, his competition he's got to race with is Bob Leader there in the 33. So Mitchell Gobea could still race his way in. All he's got to do is beat that 33 Skull Bandit. All that really did was help seal the deal for Lewis Hamilton, who's been showing the most strength here tonight. Very potential good contender for the overall win tomorrow night. Lewis Hamilton making his move to try and take the lead away from Chris Hergeson. With 2 laps to go at the line, Lewis Hamilton settles into second behind Chris Hergeson. Tristan Reams up to third. Nadak Hagum and John Roman 4th and 5th. Justin Daytu 6th and Ewan Wood Army 7th. Our final transfer looking to go to, man, anyone in these 2 spots. It's either Gobea or Leader. as we've got our 7-car breakaway at the lead here. Mostly the jockeying for position now settles into who's going to get the best start in the field. Chris Hergeson, this would be his best attempt, best start, best run in the series. Nadaka Gum out of nowhere, cruising into the lead as that lap traffic is giving us fits. Still the lap traffic giving us fits. Not going to allow these drivers to catch back up. Unfortunately, I don't think. And it's going to be white flag this time by Nadaka Gum leading. Justin Day 2 going to take the lead away from him. Justin Day 2 to the lead. Ewan What Army in third, right behind him. John Roman has a good drafting help from Lewis Hamilton. Think about it, these leaders might be setting themselves up for failure as What Army peaks on the inside of Day 2 now. The momentum carried behind them, 194 miles an hour by John Roman thanks to a push from Lewis Hamilton. What Army, Day 2, it's going to be one of these two, I think, that pull it. It's either Day 2 starting second, What Army? No, it's going to be Day 2 starting outside front row. Nadak Hagum makes his first ever career start in the Sylvania Cup Series. Lewis Hamilton is going to be joining the series. Chris Hergeson is going to be joining the series. And Bob Leader beat Mitchell Gobea to the line. The 33 Skull Bandit is going to be fighting for a win in the Daytona 500, perhaps. Going home would be Logan Nagy, Lucas Holmes, Philip Leeds, James Robert, to name a few. But definitely some of the biggest surprises would have to be the 02 of Nadak Hagum and the 20 of Trevor Walker making it into the Daytona 500 with an unsponsored vehicle. Guarantee you there's going to be sponsors on those cars once they hit the track tomorrow for the Daytona 500. Congratulations to Justin Day 2. He's going to be starting outside front row with our winner from duel number 1, Michael LeBeau. And thanks to all of you for tuning in. The duels were quite exciting. We got to see a lot of carnage, a lot of good racing, and some interesting surprise drivers race their way into the main event here. So
Greg, did you have any ignition problems?
hopefully you can all turn in tomorrow for the Daytona 500, and then we'll be going strong. So thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. This was a good set of races that we had here. Hopefully you can turn on the TV for the Daytona 500 and see how this all plays out in the end. So thanks again, everyone. This is Jakester signing